Hello, Michigan, and welcome to the review of our brand new little book, Owl, Otter, and the Big Yard Sale for this year's Smart Money Michigan Kids Read, taking place at libraries all over the state of Michigan with generous support from the Michigan credit unions. Without you and your financial support, this wouldn't be possible. So I have a couple housekeeping details to share, and then we're going to jump right into the storybook. As I said a few moments ago, if everyone on the call today could rename themselves to include their name, but also the credit union that you are with, that would be super helpful. And just for those who are not familiar with the Michigan Financial Wellness Network, we are a collaborative nonprofit organization. The Michigan Council on Economic Education is our fiscal agent, and we're a collection of individuals and organizations that come together on a monthly basis by Zoom to share resources and programming ideas and problem solve and best practices. It's typically the first Wednesday of every month, and all of you are welcome to join us. I see some familiar names and credit unions who do participate when they can. So that's awesome, because the credit union voice is a very important one to have in the room. And partners of the Michigan Financial Wellness Network come from all sectors. We have educators and librarians and government agencies, banks, credit unions, financial advisors, you name it, across the board. So it's a collaborative effort that's non-solicitous, just to make us all better. We can learn and grow together and build out the network here in Michigan of those providing financial wellness and education. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, the next meeting is March 2nd, and you're all invited to hear from the Foundation for Economic Education, which is a national organization that provides high-level speakers, either in person or online via Zoom, to those who serve 11 to 26-year-olds at no cost. So we've invited them in to tell us how we can leverage and take advantage of their resources. And there we go. Yeah, so that's just about next month's meeting, which will be a Thursday, just because I had a conflict on March 1st. So Thursday, March 2nd, our guest speaker is from FEE, and we'd love for you to join us if that works in your schedule and is something you're interested in. So just a housekeeping update on Owl and Otter and the Big Yard Sale. It is at the printer, and super excited after several years of work that this is coming to fruition. We have requests for our 9,000 copies from Michigan libraries, literally from all over the state. We had 160 requests, and all of those have been confirmed. So every library that made a request will receive the number of copies that they needed. And as you know, those who work with libraries, some are very small, and maybe they requested 12 copies. And some of those requests are for 22 branches, and they've requested 350 copies. So it really does run the gamut. So that 160 number are the number of requests, because in the library world, one quote library like Muskegon area or Detroit Public, that might represent, in my mind, my brain, like 20 different libraries, but it's one library to them. So one request could represent anywhere from one library to 22 branches, for example. If all goes according to plan, knock on some wood, March 6th is the date that we will have that master shipment all broken down into individual orders that will be headed out from Novi on trucks, headed out to libraries that have requested copies. So thanks to Community Financial Credit Union and their little mighty team of volunteers that help us with the sorting and packing the week before. And then on Monday, March 6th, it is our intention to have all of the books headed out to libraries so that they have them well in advance of story times that might take place anytime in April. We have asked them to use the books in an active way during Financial Literacy Month. My audio is scratchy. I don't know what to do about that. Let me move my hair and see if it's my hair making a noise, which I'm going to donate soon. It's driving me crazy. It's so long. So March 6th is our target date for having books headed out to libraries. As I said, we ask them to use them in active ways whenever possible, now that most places are going back to, in-person programming. We did a lot of grab and go bags, as you know, the last couple of years, but it looks like this year, most libraries are doing in-person programming. And shout out and thanks to my nimble, small, mighty book review task force. I had representatives from libraries and the Library of Michigan and from early childhood, elementary, from Kalamazoo schools, and of course the Credit Union Foundation. So thanks to everyone who was had a role in making this possible. The other thing I wanted to just raise awareness, and this would be a supplement if anyone were interested, that good friend of our financial literacy work here in Michigan, Joel Tacey, he does have a wildlife magic show that would be a nice supplement to the story. As you'll see, the storybook characters are woodland animals, and you're going to meet them up close and personal in just a minute. But Joel does have a Reading Ranger magic show that incorporates books and stories that feature sleight of hand and humor and quote magic involving woodland animals as well. So if anyone wants his contact information and would like to speak with him about perhaps bringing that magic show to a library to supplement what we're doing with our storybook, just let me know and I'm happy to connect you. Again, that's a supplemental thing. It's not part of this, our Smart Money Michigan Kids Read, but it just seemed like a cool possibility. So I thought I would make you aware. Okay, so that is all the housekeeping I have today. So I'm going to see if I can do this. Pull up our book cover. We'll start with that. Hopefully you all can see that. Can someone tell me, do you see the bright colored Owl and Otter book cover?
Yep, we can see it, Kelly.
Great. Okay, so here you'll see the main characters are Owl and Otter and their friends. So Owl's buddies, her buddies are Bear and Moose, and you'll see that they all have matching red caps and cute little red aprons, and they have a cookie stand at the big yard sale. And then Otter and his friends, Groundhog and Woodpecker, they're wearing the yellow caps and the cute little yellow aprons, and they have a lemonade stand at the big yard sale. And you'll see soon how the story goes, and there's a little bit of chaos. And in the end, they figure out that working together as a team was a better approach. And so this is the front cover of the book. You see little Woodpecker here with a dollar bill in his hand, and Bear is enjoying some lemonade and cookies here on the table, and they have their little signs that cookies $1 and a lemonade is $1. And I just love the detail. If you look at the illustrations, I fell in love with these illustrations very early on in the project with the simplicity, but the color and very cheerful. Little flowers on the floor of the woods, and the little mushrooms and the trees, the banner to decorate. So I'll just let you take a look at that. And then of course there's a brief description that's on the back cover. It's the day of the big yard sale, and Owl, Otter, and their friends are selling yummy cookies and lemonade. But adding up how much customers need to pay for these treats can be tricky. With plenty of teamwork, a little bit of chaos, and Otter's 10 wiggly toes to help, there's nothing these cheerful animal friends can't figure out. This charming, humorous story helps children practice counting and addition and introduces them to the world of money. So, and this is an Andrea Mills, it was the author, and illustrated by Julia Seal. And then on the inside of the front cover, I am in love with this little guy as well. This is inside the front cover, we call it a book plate. And it is the message that will be printed inside of the book cover of all the custom copies that we've ordered, including, not only the 9,000 that are going out to libraries, but also the additional books that we purchased for the Credit Union League to work with individual credit unions. I know you all are in the loop on all of that, but this book plate is printed inside of all of the books that we have ordered. including the little line where, you know, this book belongs to. So families who come will receive a copy of the book to take home and keep. So this book belongs to the Smith family or the Tucker family or to Joey or, you know, whatever. But I love the new artwork this year that aligns really nicely. Instead of the precious teddy bear we've had for the past few years, switched it up a little bit so that the little raccoon fits in with the woodland creature characters. So I wanted to show you guys the cover and then the inside book plate. Okay, so there's that. And so now we're going to get into the actual story. Got it. All right, so here they are, all of our characters in action, hanging out together. And here's the beginning, a little write-up on Andrea Mills, our author, and Julia Seal, our illustrator. And I just love what they've produced for us. Okay, so here we go. Hopefully you all can see. I'm going to minimize that. Maximize our graphics. Okay, so Owl and Otter hadn't slept at all. They were so excited because the day of the big yard sale was finally here. Owl was going to run the cookie stand with the help of her friends, Moose and Bear. They had been busy making yummy giant cookies all week. Otter was in charge of the lemonade stand, helped by his buddies, Groundhog and Woodpecker. They had been pouring their delicious homemade lemonade into bottles all week. And so you can see here, everybody's busy, you know, Owl's bringing over cookies and Otter's bringing over bottles of lemonade and little Woodpeckers helping decorate and Moose is hanging up their banners. Bear is setting up the cookie stand. Groundhog is over here with his lemonade, basket of lemons, just super cute. Lots of little colorful detail. The cookie stand and the lemonade stand were right next to each other at the big yard sale. The sale began and customers arrived. They loved the sweet treats and started to buy lots of them. Each cookie cost $1. What a bargain. But when a customer asked for 4 cookies, Moose and Bear couldn't figure out what the customer needed to pay. It was a lot of cookies, but how much did they cost altogether? And so you can see on the first page, all these adorable customers, right? We have a beaver and a raccoon, a little mouse, a little puppy dog, the porcupine's one of my favorites, and a bunny. And here's a little bluebird eating a cookie up in the tree. And then I love over here, Moose and Bear, look at their little eyebrows are kind of knitted together like, oh my goodness, how much does this cost? I can't figure this out. Luckily, Owl stepped in to explain addition to them. If 1 cookie costs $1, then 2 cookies will be $2. 3 cookies will be $3 and 4 cookies will be $4. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 cookies, $4, she said as she counted out 4 cookies. Adding was fun once they all got the hang of it. If they got confused, wise old Owl said, be careful when you count and you'll get the right amount. Addition wasn't so hard. All it meant was adding up numbers to reach a total. Over at the lemonade stand, a bottle of lemonade was priced at $1. What a good deal. A thirsty customer asked for 5 bottles of lemonade. Otter wiggled 5 webbed toes on his foot. Now imagine each of my toes is $1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all of the toes on my foot. 5 bottles, 5 toes, $5. He turned to the customer and smiled. $5, please. And I will tell you that we had a librarian, because I love librarians, did the research to make sure that otters actually have 5 toes, and they do. Groundhog and Woodpecker thought this was a Great idea. They started adding up on Otter's toes just to make sure their math was correct. So you see there's this little pullout over here, and these occur throughout the book. So it shows 5 bottles of lemonade, 5 Otter toes, and $5. If everyone could mute, I hear some texting and bells chiming, that would be great. Thank you. As the day went on, business was booming and eager customers were waiting to pay. Both stands were now so busy that the friends started rushing. That's when things began to go wrong. Bom, bom, bom. With so many numbers to add up, the animals got confused and muddled up their sums. Moose even started counting backward. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're not launching a rocket, Moose, Owl exclaimed. You're counting cookies. Then things went from bad to worse. Uh-oh. As Moose and Bear squeezed past each other to serve customers, they knocked over 2 cookie jars. Crash, bang, wallop. The jars tumbled to the floor and broke into pieces. The cookies became a pile of crumbs. Things were no better at the lemonade stand. In his rush to sell lemonade, Woodpecker's beak knocked against a bottle and it fell off the table. Smash! Lemonade poured out and formed a puddle on the ground. I just realized I have, I think one of our previous iterations. And so a couple of these words have been changed, like muddled up their sums. I know we corrected. And this says formed a puddle on the floor. We caught that at the last minute because it's the ground. So this is like a 99% what you're seeing today with just a couple of tweaks. Not to worry. I know that Andrea's probably going, wait a minute, we changed that word. Yeah, we did. But my computer pulled up this version. So anyway, look at this mess that's happening right now. The customers are waiting to pay and the bunny is like, oh my gosh, I'm covered in sticky lemonade. All this rushing. Owl and Otter realized that both stands were in trouble. There was still huge demand from hungry and thirsty customers, but the supplies of lemonade and cookies were now all over the ground. Customers raised their eyebrows and turned away. Look at this bunny. He's got the lemonade dripping off his ears. So everybody's leaving. Oh, so sad. Owl flew over to talk to Otter, and the pair tried to figure out what to do. Moose, Bear, Woodpecker, and Groundhog waited to hear the outcome. Soon, Owl and Otter were ready to tell them. They're over here, look at little Otter. He's thinking, little Owl's got that serious look on her face. What are we going to do? Owl began. The problem here is rushing to do the job. If we rush, things can end up taking longer to get done. Instead of serving customers, now we must clean up a big mess. Let's take our time and we'll be fine. They all nodded in agreement. Owl was certainly a wise old friend to have. Otter continued. We're still learning how to add, and it's tricky because we have so many customers. If we work as a team, we can count together. Don't panic. Count slowly and don't forget, my toes are here to help. He held up both feet to remind them. So he's got his 10 little webbed feet ready to help. They started counting out loud together to make sure they were all doing it correctly. The cleanup operation starts here, said Old Owl eagerly. Everyone got busy. Some swept and scrubbed, others washed and wiped. Halfway through, Otter turned to Owl, waved his paw at the cookie crumbs and said, I guess that's the way the cookie crumbles. Owl nodded and waved her feathered wing at the sticky lemonade by Otter's feet. I guess when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Ha, ha, ha. They all burst out laughing. There was always a way to fix things and make a bad situation better. So here they're all working together, cleaning up the big mess. Smiling, look at little Otter's face. I love his little eyes. They decided to join their two stands. Moose and Bear used their strength to push the tables together and make one giant stand selling lemonade and cookies. Woodpecker flew home to get more lemonade while Owl grabbed more cookies. Groundhog put everything in neat rows for the customers. Great teamwork, everyone, said Owl. Then Otter called out, we're back in business. Get your lemonade and cookies here. Lots of customers wanted lemonade and cookies. That's $1 for a lemonade and $1 for a cookie, said Owl. 1 + 1 = 2. $2, please. All the animals were enjoying adding up now. They worked hard to sell treats, do the math, and collect money. Everything ran smoothly and easily. By helping one another and counting carefully, they earned a lot of money. They realized they couldn't have done it without one another. So here's another one of those little pullouts. You know, you've got the 1 lemonade for $1 plus 1 cookie for $1 = 2, $2. And I love the little mouse character with his big dollar bill. At the end of the big yard sale, they collapsed into a tired heap. Owl and Otter counted all the money they had earned. Wow, said Owl, a small fortune. Unbelievable, said Otter, we did so well. But what should we do with it all? Owl explained, we'll open a savings account. What is that? Owl asked. Or Otter asked. What is that? Otter asked. Look at all that money. Look at those tired little babies. It's a special account at your local credit union or bank where money is safely stored and saved to be used later. Then you can buy something you want, like a new game or tickets to a theme park or show. You also might need money for an emergency. So here they are. There's another one of these little pullouts, little instructional pullout. If we save enough, Owl continued, maybe one day we can open a real store that sells cookies, lemonade, and other treats. Yum! Everyone agreed that this sounded like a very wise decision. And so look, they're at the bank, credit union with a teller, or looks like one of the, like customer service people at the credit union, a little save sign behind them. So Owl's showing them how they're going to go open a savings account. The friends learned so much that day, from counting, earning, and saving money to running their own business. But the most valuable thing they learned was to help one another and work together as a team. After all, what really counted was their friendship, and that was priceless. So that is the story. And here are all the little friends together eating what's left of their inventory, it looks like, after they've learned all these lessons about counting and money and teamwork and a savings account. And then we have in the back of the book, printed physically in the back of the book, this is not the current iteration, but you'll get the idea. So in the back of the book, the glossary, we pulled out concepts from the story that you can use in supplemental activities, or the librarians can use. And we have an activity idea starter that I'll show you in just a second. But printed in the back of the book is the glossary that has money used to pay for goods and services. And you see the little pause here, exchanging the money for the product. And then we have addition, the basic concept of the math concept of addition. And we changed this, because the story had 4 cookies, so we did this for 4 cookies. So that's a slight difference. The piggy bank, at home, you can keep your money in a piggy bank. And a couple of librarians have the idea of finding an activity or craft where they could make little wise owl, quote, piggy banks, but not pigs, but owls maybe. So that came into the conversation. A savings account. And this has been updated, obviously, with the little sign that's in the background that says save. So savings account, they deposit the money. into an account at their local credit union or bank to keep their money safe. And then up here, we changed this. This was originally glossary was going to be about investment, but that seemed like a stretch to me. So we changed that to teamwork, because that's a big theme in the storybook. And also for early childhood, early elementary teachers, teamwork is an important thing that's part of the rubric that is, part of what the state standards for young children. So obviously this illustration is different. It will not be a pile of lemons for teamwork. But teamwork is in the glossary, and supply is in the glossary, and demand is in the glossary. So I'm not going to read the definitions to you. They're pretty basic, but the illustrations similar to what is in the book are in the glossary as well, and they will be colorized. This is just a draft. So does anyone have any questions or comments about the story itself, or the glossary, the illustrations, the themes of the book? Before I move on to the activity supplement, I'll pause and see if anyone has any questions or thoughts.
Kelly, I have a question about payment for the books.
About payment.
There's the form if the credit unions want to request, some copies for themselves at the donation of $2 each. Is that an invoice? Can we provide a credit card number? Should we reach out to you? Right.
Yeah. So is this Shannon?
It's Colleen, same thing.
Oh, it's Colleen. I can't tell when you guys, I can't see your face. Yeah. So that's through the foundation side. So I can send you an invoice if you would like, or I can just send you the link where you can make that payment online, or you can send in a check. It doesn't matter. So if you'd like an invoice, if that's easier for you guys, I can certainly put that together.
Just curious. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Shoot me an email if that's what you want, and I can help you out.
Okay. Any? Now do you see team colors?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yay. Okay, so the supplement, this is not printed in the book. So this is something that we're doing outside of the published book itself. The glossary that I just showed you, the draft of the glossary, is printed in every copy of the book. The supplement is just that. It's a supplement. So it will be in a PDF form that I will email out to all the participating libraries. And this is the draft. This is actually a pretty advanced draft. There are just a few tweaks that are going to be made to this. This is after we've had lots of input from lots of people. And it's come a really long way. I think, Andrea, you will see how far we came from the very first just kind of verb, text outline. But each page in the supplement has just a very, like a little header and a flag over here to the left based on input that we received from some of our early childhood educators and youth librarians. So we tried to say, okay, here are some things that we think could be some activities that you do for this particular age group, knowing that story times are generally, 3 to 5, sometimes 3 to 7-year-olds, depending if they have like a pajama story time or a weekend story time. So here's the first one. I'm going to minimize this to get more on the screen. I won't make it too small though. So the first one is team colors, because as you know, librarians love to have printables that can be, copied off and then let kids either color a sheet or do cutouts and coloring or, gluing onto sticks or paper. So the first activity is the team colors. So color 3 red hats and 3 red aprons for owl, moose, and bear. And so these are just outlines that the children can color. And even I thought they could do like, draw a line to where it goes if they wanted, the librarian wanted to do something like that. And then similarly, color 3 yellow hats and 3 yellow aprons for owl, groundhog, and woodpecker. And then at the bottom, there's just a little shout out at the bottom of each page with a note to the teacher or, caregiver, librarian, parent. If, for example, they have in the library or in the, let's say, kindergarten classroom or preschool classroom, You know, if they have a play area or a messy play, there might be aprons or hats in this physical space. The other thing I said to someone recently, like my little girl loved to bake when she was younger. So we have a lot of little kid aprons. You know, if I worked in a library or if I were a credit union partnering with a library, I might take a little collection of aprons or hats to the story time, you know, and let the kids do this activity, this extra activity. You know, if they have access to aprons for messy play or dress up, I had them add the words or dress up. Ask them to count the number of real aprons in the room. And we're taking out the class because it could be, you know, story time room. So I had them ask them to tweak the language there. So that's a real simple printable for a coloring that connects back to the story. And then the next sheet is for popsicle puppets. And you guys have all done dozens of these, I'm sure, over the years. So color the pictures of owl, moose, and bear, glue them to cardboard, or if they're printed on cardstock, you know, obviously that would be a step that could be skipped. And then cut them out. Glue your characters on popsicle sticks to make puppets. So each of the main characters is on a sheet where the kids can color them whatever color they want. You know, it doesn't have to be red and yellow. Let them be polka dots or rainbows. We don't care. And then there's a little suggestion here for retelling the story, which of course helps children remember the story. This activity gives children an opportunity to retell the whole story or their favorite part of the story in their own words using the puppets, which helps aid their understanding. And so you have bear and owl and moose, and then we have groundhog, otter, and woodpecker. And the same instructions with the same suggestion. We just wanted to make them large enough to actually be usable, so we didn't stick all 6 on one page. It's just 3 and 3. So, and then this sheet, counting dollars, count the $1 bills below and work out the total. Whose face is on each dollar bill? And so again, connecting back to the story, you'll see each of the $6 bills has one of the main characters' faces on it. Again, another reenacting opportunity. Children can cut out the dollar bills as well as the money that's on the money sheet, which is later down the packet, and the cookies and lemonade. There's another sheet that you'll see in just a second. They can then reenact the book and role playing buying lemonade and cookies. For example, give each child 5 or 6 of these dollars and let them choose the combination of cookies or lemonade they want to buy. So then you can also do the, you know, buying and selling relationship between some children are buying and some children are selling. So here's another printable with cutouts of the cookies. So for example, it says how many chocolate chips are in the cookie. So you can use it as a worksheet, but you can also then have the kids cut the shapes out and use them as an activity, you know, buying and selling activity. So on this, you'll see the flag changes to 5 to 6-year-olds. Children can use the count or use counters, or you know, counters could be marbles or paper clips or actual counters like they use in elementary school. And you know, as the kids get older, they may want to try the subtraction, right? So we're focusing on addition, but if we're an older age group, you could also have them do subtraction, right? So if you have, was it 5 to 7 chocolate chips and we took away 2, how many chocolate chips are left, right? So you can, again, scale this up if you have older children in your story times. And then the lots of lemons sheet, color the lemon slices in each bottle. So these are colorized, but they're not going to be. They're going to just have them like a black and white outline so that the kids can color them. How many lemon slices are in each bottle? So it's a counting activity, you know, so there's 3 here, there's 4 here, and then which bottle has the most? So there's some comparative, and which bottle has the least number of lemon slices. And they're cut out. So you remember on the previous page where it says, you know, you can have the kids cut things out and practice buying and selling with their money. So we have this both as a coloring option and a counting option, but also then could be cut out and used as in that transaction practice. And then this I love, this was one of the first ideas that we had from a librarian who said, I'd love to have Otter's footprint that I could print off and have them on the floor leading to the story room. I thought that was a great idea. So we made a sheet with owls or Otter's footprint, and there's a whole bunch of things that can be done with this, but that was kind of the inspiration for having Owl's footprint as one of the printables. So you can print, trace, or copy the footprint many times to create lots of them. Give children simple adding up sums, right? So if you have using the toes like they did in the storybook, just like the characters did. Also then placing them on the floor, leading to the story time room, or they can lead to places that Otter needed to go. You know, if you wanted to have children like follow Otter's footprint to, if you were to set up like a table of refreshments, you know, follow Otter's footprints to the lemonade table. And let's see, write the total. Oh yeah, so you could also have kids count the number of footprints that they see on the floor, right? All kinds of ways to add, to use them for counting. And then we're getting to the little bit older set for 7 and 8 year olds. Remember how Moose mistakenly started counting backwards? So we decided to use that. You see little Moose in the rocket ship. So this is, you know, a rocket launch page, we're calling it, just with the numbers they can cut out, and asking children to order them from 20 to 0 so that they can also launch Moose's rocket into space. And then adding up money. So writing the total number of dollars in each of these, right? So 1 + 1 is what? 2 + 2. So again, an activity for an older group of kids. This isn't the actual artwork, it's just a placeholder. Illustrator has a little bit more things to do for us. So yeah, so there's just a little bit more verbiage here. And I already mentioned something about, you know, having them. Oh, and this is a cool idea. So there could be things in the room that the children get to decide what the cost would be. You know, so, oh, this stapler should be how many dollars, and this stuffed animal should be this many dollars, you know, so that they can, it'd be interesting to see where kids place value too. I think that'd be a cool little social science experiment. What do they see as having value? And then the money sheet, this is something we had in last year's book, if you recall, and it gave a lot of optionality. So you'll see that we have, you know, pennies and nickels and dimes, and there are dollars at the bottom of the page, but my screen is frozen at the moment. And a librarian, we had the circle dotted lines for cutout, which this is a, you know, a fine motor skill. But some of the librarians said it'd be really helpful if there were straight lines for some of the younger learners. So we added in kind of a table or a matrix so that if it's a younger group of kids, they can just cut on the rectangle lines and not have to do the circles. So again, this is the money page that can be used as was referenced earlier in the packet. And then at the bottom, there was just another note that we added from a librarian suggestion about the possibility of finding either, you know, piggy banks that look like owls, or using, you know, kind of that upcycling idea that we've all done before of using little boxes or jars or things that we have that are, of course, cleaned and ready to repurpose. So this is the 10-page supplement that will go along with the book. Does anyone want me to go back to a particular page? Feel free to unmute. This is just informal, guys. We're doing this for you. So
so we will be able to share this with the credit unions as well, correct, Kelly? Like,
yes, I can make that available. Sure. Just
Okay.
know that the librarians will have it, and they'll probably have their own ideas as to what they want to do. So obviously that's where the relationship is important and the collaboration, so that, you know, you don't have, you know, staff making a bunch of copies of things that maybe the librarian doesn't plan to use, or, you know, maybe already made copies. And it's a, you know, great opportunity to connect with your library people and just maybe offer to make the copies, or, you know, whatever. But yes, for sure, I can make the PDF available.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, because as Kelly mentioned earlier, the foundation has some extra copies that we're making available for credit unions that are interested in using them using the books for their own activities as well. So if you guys need, some additional ideas or anything, this might be helpful for them. So
for sure. Yeah. Use it, right? Don't recreate the wheel.
Right.
And these are just ideas. Again, we don't prescribe how libraries implement the Smart Money Michigan Kids Read, but they're very receptive and appreciative of ideas like this. So, what else? Does anyone need to see a particular page of the supplement or of the book cover? Does anybody have any questions about the process or the timeline? Okay, then I guess we can be finished. I'm not in a hurry, but I don't need to just stay here and take up people's time. You might get 15 minutes of your life back to do other things. So again, I will edit this and make it available as a link. And Andrea, I will send you that link as soon as I get it ready.
Perfect.
And you can share that out with anyone who's interested. If somebody wants to rewatch part of this for some reason, or if someone couldn't make it, that's why we did this, to help you guys so that you have the intel, the inside scoop of what's happening, and have a visual of what's coming, so that your creative juices can be flowing, and you know what the librarians will be receiving before April 1st, because I know they get nervous if they don't have the books well in advance of their story times, which is understandable. So that's why we do the timeline so early, so that hopefully everyone will have their physical books, a couple weeks before their story times, whenever they're having them in the month of April during Financial Literacy Month. So I'm always here if anyone has specific questions about, whatever. You can reach me at MiFinancialWellness@gmail.com. That's just MiFinancialWellness@gmail.com. I'm happy to field questions. Oh, good. Someone just said, I love the activities. Yeah, I hope you guys, I love these characters so much. I mean, honestly, it's like we've watched them, we've raised them, and now we're sending them out into the world. And I hope you guys love them as much and have fun with it. This is a pretty special year with a brand new book that no one's ever used before, that will go into the collection at the publisher for other children to enjoy, far and wide. But yes, thought out and intentional. Yeah, thank you. It was very intentional. There are a lot of things in here that won't be obvious to the casual reader, that were very, very intentional, very specific. So yeah, thank you. I'm glad you love it too.
Well, thanks, Kelly. That was great too. And yeah, I'm glad everybody's enjoying the story. It is a very nice, cute story for young kids, but as Kelly has alluded to, and as you guys saw, there were a lot of intentional, additions in there. And we were sure to add, credit union and stuff like that. So I hope that you guys find this a useful book, and even for years to come, possibly use and add to your personal collections or libraries at the credit union. And as you guys are planning, if any of you are doing any of the additional events outside of just with the library, but also in addition, feel free to use the listserv and share some of the activities or ideas that you guys are doing. It's always nice to hear what everybody is doing. And sometimes that helps, along with the supplemental materials, spark some different ideas. So, if you're struggling coming up with something, or unsure about one of the supplements, feel free to utilize that listserv, and we can bounce ideas off each other that way as well.
Well, and I love that, because I will tell you, over the last, I've been 9 years or something doing this project, I have kept just a running sheet of bullet point ideas that I've gotten from youth librarians over the years. So if there are things specific to this book, Andrea, that pop through your listserv, I'd love it if you shoot them to me, because I will just keep my list going, right? It's not fancy, but people love it, right? Because all different rhymes and finger puppet plays and little games and arts and crafts. And so I would love to add to that list with things
Perfect.
that are that come out for this year.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everybody for being here, and have a fantastic day. And I hope you have a blast with Owl and Otter and all our little friends this April. Take care.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.